Welcome back, Miami Dolphins. Hit that like and subscribe if you like this video. Today we're going to be discussing, this is just going to be a quick run through on some of the prospects that are coming up. The Senior Bowl, I think, is February 1st. I think it's a Wednesday or something like that. Not really sure. It actually might be, I don't know what day it is, but I think it's February 1st. And no, it might be a Sunday. Amen. But we're just going to be going a quick run through over the prospects that we should be taking a look at in this Senior Bowl. I think all of us understand, and like I said, later videos I'm going to discuss and break down each one of these different things, and who we should be looking for, what we need to do, what we need to go for, the needs and all that stuff. But right now we're just going to be kind of going over some of the names that I see that I have here that I want to kind of go over and reasoning behind it. So the first one is going to be Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. And again, he's a safety. We need to be targeting. Some people want us to take Malachi in the first round. Honestly, I don't think safety. I guess pick the best player available. So if he is the best player available, then sure. But I don't think it's the biggest need on this team. I think, honestly, it's offensive line and possibly wide receiver if Tyreek Hill gets traded. But it's got to be offensive line and defensive line. That has to be our first round pick going into the season. So he's probably going to be, I would say, second, third rounder, maybe fourth, depending with, what he does in the combine and all that stuff. But I'd say second or third rounder is Xavier Watts. Definitely someone to keep an eye out on, just in case. The next one's going to be Andrew Makuba from Texas. He's a cornerback, big. I think he's like 6'2", and honestly was pretty decent at Texas. Going to be the bigger body corner, and the reason behind that, again, like third rounder, maybe fourth rounder, possibly low second. But the reason behind that is because Cam Smith, unless there's like some revelatory turnaround that Cam Smith has, he's not looking like he's the guy that we thought he was going to be as that second round pick. So we definitely need to get some depth. Not really sure what's happening with Cater or who we're going to re-sign. We have Kendall Fuller and Jalen Ramsey, so it's not a super need. Like I said, corner would probably be in like the third round that we should be getting something like this, but it's a good guy to take a look at. This is going to be one that I definitely want to take a look at, is Walter Nolan, defensive tackle from Ole Miss. And he had 6.5 sacks or 6.5 sacks. And essentially big dude, big body dude. Definitely can take up the line, help Zach Sealer, do what he needs to do in the middle of the line, because he's kind of by himself over there. Depending on if we get Calais Campbell back, we definitely need someone to help fill that role of defensive tackle to be able to stop the run. Because a lot of time this year, when Zach Sealer was out, it was like we could not stop the run at all. Like the running backs gave us big problems during this year. And it's, of course, we had Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer clogging up the middle. That's why our run defense was so good. So now having a defensive tackle being drafted in, I would, honestly, I want to draft him. It's got to be like offensive line or defensive tackle for the first rounder for me. If Tyreek Hill is still here, it's got to be one of those two. You got to solidify both things. You got to take a very high round pick on a very high end player in the trenches. It has to be one of the two. I would prefer offensive line, but like I said, definitely need to take a swinger on one of these players for the trenches. So he's a good pickup. Another one is Deion Walker from Kentucky. Another big buddy. He's like 350. So, but he's it's a big boy, big run stopping type of defensive tackle. Guy's a big boy, 6'6", 350. Guy's a big dude. So again, we need that guy to go across from Sealer to help stop the run, to be able to clog up that middle, because once that happens, Sealer is going to get free. Next one is going to be from Georgia. It's the guard from Georgia, Tate Ratledge. And again, we need guards. That's been the failure for most of us. Now, I would say it would just be dumb to not sign back Isaiah Wynn. I wouldn't understand why, or just to not have him on this team. It would make absolutely no sense. But again, we need to get guards to solidify that spot. Isaiah Wynn looked pretty good at the end of the year, so I think he is a good, solid pickup for that. We need to get more, and I think getting Tate Ratledge would be a solid pickup for this as well. Wyatt Millum from West Virginia. He's a good pass protector, definitely needs to work on his run protection, but he's another good one. Not as big as, what's his name? Tate Ratledge, not as big as him, I don't think, but definitely a good pass blocking guy, very agile, which is kind of what Mike McDaniel wants in his offensive lineman, to do the pulls and all that stuff. So another good one that could be worth watching. Jonah Savinaya, I think that's his name, from Arizona. This guy is big dude, big buddy right here. He played right guard, so another big guy. The problem with Liam too is that his arms were short and he wasn't as big as many defensive linemen, and that's kind of where he struggles. Weird. It's like you got a small, short-armed dude trying to play guard. Just didn't work out at all. So this is another, versatile big boy, 330, 6'5", probably a second or third rounder. Really good one. And then a couple of tight ends. You got Mason Taylor, who's a nice athletic tight end, and then Gunnar Helm, which is more of a blocking tight end, I think. Jaden Higgins is a good wide receiver, but like I said, we don't need wide receiver unless Tyreek Hill is not here anymore. But he's a pretty decent one to take a look at. Iowa State, he's 6'4", probably go in the third round. Someone to take a look at right there. I'm not sure if he's related to T. Higgins. He might be. Not sure. Could be, because the size is very, very much so the same. But 6'4", nice X receiver. I think having, Prince come in as the wide receiver coach, he's going to want to get, a Galladay or a Marvin Jones, or like a Golden Tate like he had in Detroit, and it's like a CeeDee Lamb. He's going to want to get that type. Savion Williams, another 6'5" receiver, big dude. These are players that we need to take a look at. Third rounder, get a big guy that can be out there and can just catch these fades. Then a couple of quarterbacks. Jackson Dart is one of them. Jalen Milroe, which I wouldn't take him. And I don't know where Dylan Gabriel is going to land. These guys, I don't think we really need it. I think this year you pass on a quarterback in the draft. I know some people are going to be like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" I think you got so many other needs. Just get a backup quarterback in free agency, because if Tua goes down, season's basically, like, the whole regime is basically over. So getting a quarterback this year, you're just kind of making the next coach, have to deal with it, because you don't want a quarterback. You definitely want to pick up a backup, and just Tua can't go down. That's kind of the thing here. He just cannot get injured, or else it's over, or else it's pretty much done. We're going to retool. They're going to fire everybody, and we're going to get a new head coach and a new quarterback. Tua can't get injured. That's just kind of the key here. But those are going to be some of the guys that we take a look at in this Senior Bowl coming up. We'll see what happens. But again, like we said, see what happens. But first round needs to be offensive lineman, trenches type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these other things, safety, we could wait till the third round, I would think. But first rounder, take a look at some of these guys. Some of these guys are going to go in the second round. Big, a lot of guards in the Senior Bowl. Patrick Paul was actually one of them, and we ended up picking him up. He was at the Senior Bowl. A lot of these guards that go to the Senior Bowl and centers, they end up flourishing in the NFL. I think there was another one from like a small, I forgot where it was. He's got long hair, like one tooth. He plays on the Buccaneers, and he's very good too. He was in the Senior Bowl last year as well. Comment down below if you know the name. But as always, guys, we'll see what happens. Fins up, baby. Love you all. Peace.